Today's video is a little bit different. Over the last 12 months, we've become quite good friends with another grower of fantastic, living, edible flavour. They are Wildside Farms. Now, to our followers in the UK, you might not have heard of them, but they're actually based on the other side of the Atlantic in Florida. They trade regularly at Sarasota Farmers Market. And earlier in the summer, we actually got together for a Zoom chat in which we discussed the differences between growing and fundamentally doing a very, very similar job, but in very, very different circumstances. In the chat that we had, we covered a wide range of topics, including the huge differences in our season, in the rhythm of the season, the differences in weather, and we touched upon the impact that COVID has had on both of our businesses. In this video, we're going to allow you to be part of that chat and relive it with us. We really hope that you enjoy watching this video as much as we enjoyed making it. Massive, massive shout out to the guys at Wildside Farms. If you haven't discovered them already, please give them a follow on social media. Wildside Farms is run by a lovely couple who really, really believe in what they do. We're going to put a link to them in the description. Please enjoy this video, guys. Okay, so for today's video, we're going to be doing something quite different. We've made friends with a fantastic company who grow amazing and different herbs in a really, really enthusiastic way. And they are actually based somewhere very, very different to where Urban Herbs is based. So I'm actually joined today by my friends from the Wildside Farms, Ali and Spence. Guys, we've just had a little chat like before the video that we started recording. And what I really love is that I think like we both share that kind of enthusiasm like for growing, and that really comes across.
We're definitely plant addicts at this point. Like our yard is just growing and growing constantly.
Yeah, I hear you. That's exactly kind of our philosophy. And just before we started recording, like, we talked a little bit about like Urban Herbs and how we started and how it was a bit of an accident really, how it kind of all came about. But like, how did you guys start doing what you're doing now? What's the story?
Yeah. Well, we both have been gardeners for a really long time, and it was like a passion of ours when we met. And a family friend had this business before, and we took it over, and we took that dive. We had just had a baby, and we wanted to do something. You know, I don't know, we wanted to live that lifestyle that we loved and be a part of a market, and like
it was a little bit crazy, right? We just had a baby and we were all like half asleep all the time, and a friend of ours was like, hey, I got this booth at the farmers market, are you guys interested? And we were like, yeah, we're really interested, that's something we want to do. So we just jumped on it and figured it out, and that was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
4 years ago.
Wow.
But we
were basically already doing it, so it just made sense to like try to make a living out of it, you know, and have that lifestyle.
Yeah, and you're not like regretting it. You're not like you're not in the corner yet, going like, no.
That's how you know you're doing the right thing. Is that you just keep wanting more and more and more. You know, sometimes I don't like waking up at 5:30 to go to the market, but talking about plants, I can just do that with people, you know, for 8 hours straight. That's fine.
Yeah, it's funny because
say it again.
I recognize exactly what you're saying there, because I don't particularly I don't miss, because there's been a lot of changes this year, maybe we'll touch on them, but I don't miss waking up at 5:30.
I was the one who actually woke up really early.
A lot of the time, that's true. The whole internet model of ordering what you want on the internet and then picking it up actually turns out to be a lot more efficient for both us, the growers, and the customers. I do miss the kind of fun vibe of the market a lot. I miss that a lot. But otherwise, it's not a bad model that we evolved to. It's a lot easier for everybody, it seems like.
That's really
all the farmers in our community have found that like the new way of things, even though it's a little bit different, it does kind of seem to work easier in that type of market, you know, setup. You bring what you need, you know.
Yeah, that's so interesting because it's funny because obviously we're in such a different kind of different place, but that's exactly what we have found in terms of the efficiency.
Yeah.
Normally at this time of the season, we have like a spoil heap. So we have plants that are unsold that we're not going to pot on into bigger pots. And normally that spoil heap, I can see it out of the window behind. This year, we haven't really thrown any plants away.
Wow.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And it's interesting that you say the same thing.
You kind of grow for what you know you need to grow for, which is nice. It's a nice change. And our season, I think, is actually like our real growing season is just about to start. So like in August, that's when we really start seeding and get things more cranking. You know, in the summer, we just hang on and grow what can grow here in Florida, you know, during our summer.
Which we're slowly expanding our knowledge of what can grow in this incredible heat, you know, and the crazy downpours every day. It's intense.
So I just find that so interesting. And like, I think a lot of the people that kind of like follow us on YouTube and Instagram, and a lot of those people are UK based. So for their benefit, I'm just going to like hit you guys with some numbers because I just found this absolutely mind-boggling. Okay.
Yeah.
So in the UK, obviously we're on the Celsius kind of system. So today is the middle of summer. Okay, so for us, like I'm wearing shorts, I'm wearing a t-shirt, and it's 22 degrees Celsius, that's 71.
That's the peak.
Well, that's I'd say that's like the summer normal, okay?
Yeah.
Now, 1 month ago, we actually had a heat wave, okay? So people were like falling over outside, people were just walking around wearing just a pair of shorts. I was walking into the tunnels and putting the irrigation on just to cool myself down. And that was 30 degrees or 86 in your...
Wow.
That's extreme. Okay, that's like it's on the news when that happens, okay?
Oh, wow.
Now, and at the other end of the scale, in the winter, it would go down to around 2, or that's like 35 in your money.
Wow.
So you guys say that this is kind of where you start cranking it up?
Yeah, we're getting our soil ready right now. We're letting the compost cool back off a little. We're getting all our beds prepped. Trying to harvest the compost that we have and get everything ready to go because it is hot now, but there's a couple month like kind of sweet spot that we have to grow traditional plants in, traditional cooler weather, you know, like broccoli, brassicas and stuff.
Yeah.
And even like dill and cilantro, there's no point of trying to grow that right now. It just, you know, it won't grow.
So anyway, when we get to that, we've got to have everything ready, otherwise we miss it, you know?
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So when would you say that if you're cranking things up now, would your sort of busy sales period be kind of like a couple of months after that, or? So
here's the questionable thing about it. Like our busiest period is probably right around Christmas or before or after. Florida's kind of weird, but like the big question mark now is we're going into hurricane season. So as it starts to, it's still going to be hot for a while, but it's really hard to like plant plants and then have crazy downpours or, you know, 100-mile-an-hour winds. You know, we have greenhouses, but they can only handle so much, you know.
Wow.
So coming out of that, which ends in September, October, that's kind of right when we try and plant. You know, it just starts to cool off, and the farmers here do try and plant earlier, but it's always a little questionable to see how things go because of all the environmental factors that you have to deal with. One cool thing about Florida though is, so you're growing your stuff in October, November, December. you kind of, if you're quick about it and you do get it in the ground early, you get a second season around January, February, like March, April. You can maybe get a little bit before it starts getting boiling hot again.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's kind of the lay of the land here with the weather.
That is just so interesting, because I've got so much respect actually for what you guys do, because in the UK, I think we complain like about the weather, just like it's just like,
So do we, you know.
I feel like we're making a bit of a meal of it though, because like you guys are actually up against it. I mean, how hot did you say it was outside today?
I don't know exactly the.
I think it's maybe like the high 90s in Fahrenheit,
yeah.
but
Okay.
but because Florida has so much water in the air, like it's already rained at like twice today. It's got such a high humidity that you get that kind of sauna feeling.
Yeah. Okay.
I think I said the other day I had a heat stroke by like 10:30 in the morning, you know, just by walking around
Wow.
and that's not like normal for me, you know, and I'm normally like used to it. So it definitely, it's no joke. You know?
Wow.
Yeah.
So you guys don't deserve some herb plants. You deserve medals.
Well,
In the herb plants.
well, we choose it. You know, we choose it. We like it.
Right. I've got to ask this, right? Because I think anybody that does this, like by nature, kind of like, you have to be a herb geek. You just have to be a bit like into it. You have to be a bit like obsessed with it. So I was going to ask you guys, could you name like your favorite herb each?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So mine is lemon balm.
Okay.
I could sleep in a bed of lemon balm or lemon thyme. I love lemon balm and lemon thyme together.
That was so quick when you said that.
Yeah. I just when I smell lemon balm, it instantly like makes me happy. Like it gets inside of me, and it lifts my mood up instantly. I love it.
I know.
You know, I've gotten this question a few times now, and I can't tell you the one that I love the most. Like I love some of them for the medicinal sides that are just mind blowing, but then the flavors. Oh, the flavors.
So give us one of your
Cilantro has got this great cilantro-y flavor. I love cilantro too. Actually, cilantro kind of marries the medicinal and the flavor so well. So cilantro for today. That's my favorite.
Yeah, that's what I do. That's exactly what I do. Because someone pointed out the other day that when I do these like videos promoting the different herbs, in virtually every video, I say like, this is my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I actually mean it. I actually mean it in that video. It's funny because we were talking just now before the recording started about your different varieties on your website, and I was just saying how there's a collection that you guys have put together, the Salsa mix. And I mean, this is probably just like my brain making links, because I kind of associate, you know, like the south of the USA, like with just like amazing food. And I was looking at that salsa mix, and I was saying, I'm just thinking like, I want to go back there right now.
Yeah.
Teleport me.
Yeah. Florida in general has got some really interesting influences. It's got a lot of like Caribbean. It's got like a little Latin American. It's also got like Southern United States. So that was a good way for us to kind of get those flavors together in one bundle.
Yeah. Do you know what? I've spent all day surrounded by herbs, and I was looking at that collection and I was like, do you know what? I would like that. I would really like that. I've got to like touch on something that I think a lot of people will be interested in, and like it's something that we know that has like impacted on us a lot. It's like how much has COVID-19, how much has that impacted on you guys and your business?
Huge. I mean, our main source of revenue for the business was the market, which was every week. It's a huge market, like maybe 10,000 people. Lots of people come to this market. It's huge, and that just got straight up shut down.
Yeah.
So, and we didn't really have an alternate model. So Ali took the lead and, stayed up till 3 a.m. trying to come up with a website and get a web store worked out and figure out how to do these things. And
you had to get creative.
Yeah.
And we're 3-4 years young into this business, and we're not open to the public, and so especially during COVID, you don't really, at the beginning, you didn't know how to interact with people, so it really just it did cut it down, for us, and it gave us that time though to be creative.
Yeah.
And like figure out, okay, how do we evolve with what's going on.
One thing I noticed that was so great, that I'm very thankful about, is it turns out there's people that want our stuff. Like, they will find us. They figured out we had a website. They ordered.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we were grateful about that.
That's amazing. We're doing something right.
Yeah. Do you know something? I don't know if it's the same for you guys, but actually, one of the things that we've kind of discovered during the course of this year is that it's actually quite humbling that people actually do kind of seek you out. And especially, I'm not too sure, exactly what, I think the situation is different from state to state maybe, but like at the moment in the UK, there is still some people who are really just like staying at home. And, they have just been staying at home, especially the older people have been staying at home, like for a long time now. And it's just so cool, to get that message from somebody saying, I was having a really, really crap day here. And it's, your herbs arrived.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they've distracted me. And it's kind of like, I always kind of say this, that I think herbs are a product that nobody really needs. Like, it's not something that you kind of like a basic thing, a commodity of life, but it really enhances your life when you kind of get something extra, just so you don't, something nice.
It does, and for thousands of years, people have been interacting with these plants, and that's something I feel like it gets lost track of. It's just like this little thing in this little plastic cup that you buy, and it tastes good, but really, like 30 different generations before you have likely interacted with one of these plants as medicine or as a food. Like, we have a big heritage, and I feel like that knowledge or that awareness is lost to a lot of people, but like rediscovering it is really cool. Just the plants play a huge part in lives, or they have over time, over all of civilization, and that's really wild to think about and get into.
Yes.
Yeah.
I literally, I relate so strongly to what you've just said, and I think for us, and I don't know about you guys, but we've actually found that maybe like, especially post COVID-19, there does seem to be like a really, really strong kind of like social media presence, and almost like people kind of realizing that actually it's so nice to have a really nice personal environment where, let's say that you've got to stay at home, you can actually create a really, really lovely personal environment for yourself, and kind of like, guess what, without getting on my bandwagon too much, you kind of actually like help the wider environment as well.
Yeah.
I'm so curious, because I can't get my head around the way that your season is just so different to ours. Like, could you say, like, what's your best selling product? Like, is
Basil all day long, and it's crazy because it's very tricky to grow here. Like a sweet Genovese basil.
Yeah. So basil, everyone loves basil, and a normal sweet Genovese basil will 100% guaranteed get a powdery mildew on it because our temperatures are so humid and so wet. So we found a downy mildew resistant basil, and we've started growing that. And it is the strongest basil we have ever grown, and it tastes delicious. And I think, you know, and once you find, okay, you've got your basil, like what other types of basil can you grow? You know, like let's bring in those different varieties.
Yeah, there's some good ones.
We've got African blue basil that grows really good here, and it's a big pollinator. So, I mean, it'll turn into like a massive bush with these beautiful flowers that'll keep on growing. And so here you get to harvest it, and plus you get to feed the bees.
And that one's cool because it never goes to seed. It just keeps, it's called perpetual basil as well. Yeah. So it just keeps growing and growing and growing.
Wow. I mean, I've got this, it's interesting. You say about the basil, you say basil, I say basil. It's
basil.
It's funny because I often wonder if basil is easy to grow anywhere in the world, because you have problems due to it being so warm and humid, and we have problems with it being so cold. And honestly, if I put basil outside our door, let's say in the month of May, and you can still have a frost, and it will not like that. Even in June, if you get a chilly day where I don't know, maybe sort of 10 degrees, so that'll be, what's that, about 50, 55, and you'll see that the plant will just kind of like fall over and just like will not look happy.
We get that in our winter too. I mean, even though our winters aren't that intense, I think like 50 to like 40 is probably the lowest. And like, you know, we're covering it, you know, you're making a little, you know, heater box for it. And, you know, we tell people, bring it inside, you know, if you can bring it.
You know, one thing that's really cool about Florida is you've got the ingredients of life, right? You've got heat, you've got water, and they're just like, both of them are intense. So you've got a lot of life happening quickly. And unfortunately, that also means, like for basil, like a lot of bugs, a lot of like diseases, you know, it's all just going really quick.
It's an ecosystem.
Yeah, if they're not from here and used to that, then, you know, they stand a chance, but you got to really be on top of it.
Wow, because we always say that actually, while I'm talking to you guys, my wife is actually out in the polytunnels, like working. So I think I've got the best job today. But we were just saying, actually, in for us, like in the month of July into August, it must be like how it is for you for long periods of the year, because everything is just growing so quickly. And we just can't keep on top of it. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's the best job in the world, but I love, you know, how many hours do I spend pruning stuff?
Definitely.
It's a lot of work, and out in the heat and the rain and all of it, but
our personal garden is just overflowing. Like, I mean, I think we probably trim our lemongrass once a week, and it just grows.
It's a great mulch. You just trim it, throw it on the ground, and then next week it's ready to trim it again.
So go on, you guys, you can make me sad now. You can make me feel really, really unhappy. How big is the lemongrass in your garden?
Oh God, I mean,
it's probably up to like, it's huge. It's huge.
It's probably a good 5 feet tall.
5 feet.
Yeah, 5 feet tall, and then probably, what is that? 3 feet, 4 feet wide, or
and we don't let it go that far. You know, we cut it because I like to use it for mulch. Yeah,
I mean, let me tell you, right. This year, for a whole load of reasons, like we've been kind of short-staffed, and we've had to limit the number of varieties that we grow. But normally we grow lemongrass, right? And we sort of slave away over it.
Yeah.
And we look after it, and we keep it warm. And then we get to like June, July, and the big day comes, it can finally go out into the polytunnel. Okay? And at that point, it'll be about that big.
Yeah.
And last year, I actually grew some lemongrass, and I kept it, and I brought it in. We've got like a little like conservatory, like it's nice, sort of, you know, like a lean-to kind of thing. It doesn't go down too cold in there. And I left it on top of the washer in there, and we went away on holiday. And we had one of the warmest weeks in January in the UK. And I came back and I'd forgotten to water my lemongrass, and it was fallen over. And I just thought to myself, this is not meant to be, you know?
Yeah.
Meant to be, you know? Guys, you know, like talking to you, this makes me, I mean, like when everything's calmed down with all the COVID and stuff, like I'm going to make myself a commitment, right? One of these days, I'm going to come to Florida. And I want to see this. What's the farmers market called that you guys trade at?
Sarasota.
It's the downtown Sarasota Farmers Market.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's a huge mix of amazing vendors, like, you know, local farmers and artisans.
70-something vendors.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean,
well, let's switch, because I want to come see your
That's a
stuff
great
too.
idea. Yeah. In the summer though. In the summer.
No, you guys would not love here in the winter, I think. It's do you know what? Actually, it's a weird one, because we secretly quite like it, because everything just kind of chills. Yeah.
There's a beautiful stillness to winter where it just sort of goes to sleep for months.
Yeah, and me and my wife, we're kind of we come at things that we are like foodies more than we are growers. Like for a very long time, you know, somebody would say to me like, you know, what's your profession? What would you list your job as, you know? And they'd say, you're a nurseryman, right? And for some reason I would go, no. No, that's something that some other people do, you know? I'm not that. But I think I've come to accept it a bit more now, maybe. But what we absolutely love is, you know, when you go into the autumn and you get the kind of the colder temperatures, and we just get to, as you say, kind of chill out just a little bit, and we kind of get to enjoy some of the flavors that we've been growing. I think you guys are going to be really interested, actually, because we're just filming like a sequence of videos at the moment where we're doing some experiments about lengthening the growing season. So like what you can kind of plant in polytunnels, or in like, we've got these kind of like insulated kind of cloches, and we're just trying to see like if we can get another 4 weeks of growing time, because, you know, that's quite a lot really for us. Guys, I think we're both a bit limited for time today, but I just wanted to say, like, genuinely, this has been like so much fun, like catching up with you guys, and genuinely, I would really like, let's make this commitment, right? One day we will switch places.
I love it. Let's do it.
Let's try it.
Yeah, so we've got this agreed. You guys are gonna come to the UK in December, and you can stay here.
Wait.
Don't worry. I'll tell you guys something, right? I used to stand on farmers markets in January and December, okay? And we used to do this farmers market in the middle of our local city, Birmingham. And if you can imagine, the market was between these very, very tall sort of buildings, maybe like 10-story buildings. And you never, ever got to see the sun, okay? And when we got there, it was so cold that I think it was -7. Can you hear my cat talking to you, by the way?
I get it.
And when we got to the market, it was -7.
Oh my goodness.
So is that about 15 in your money, maybe?
Whew.
Okay. And
It's still cold.
It's very cold, yes.
And one of the guys actually said to me, he said, you know, like the metal frame of the market stall? He said, don't touch the frame, because he said your hand will stick to it, like it will.
Oh my gosh.
And believe it or not, I stood there all day long. And I think maybe we packed up to go home around 3 o'clock, something like that. And maybe the temperature had gone up a little bit. And I thought, when I'm, packing the plants away, I felt quite warm. So I took my coat off and I took my jumper off. And if you'd asked me how warm it was, I'd have said it was about 10 degrees, something. I got into my van and the thermometer told me it was only -2.
Oh my gosh.
The moral of the story to me is, how are you selling plants in this? Like,
Yeah.
they're little ice cube plants.
Yeah. I mean, over the time, things have evolved. So we stopped kind of doing the farmers markets, like I think the end, like October time, and then we started again in March. But I think back then I was kind of like a bit young and enthusiastic,
You would
totally
go sit out in that freezing weather and sling plants. I get that.
I mean, I'm not joking. One day, we put the plants out in the display, and we actually realized that during the course of the day, the plant had actually become frozen to the table.
Oh
yeah.
So
the logistics are crazy.
I mean, this lovely lady, she wanted to buy that particular time plant. And so while I was making polite conversation to her, I kind of chiseled the plant off the table, like an ice pick kind of thing. But yeah, I do not miss that. But guys, I massively want to experience this Florida weather,
yeah, come on down.
Well, this is great. Let's talk more. Some of the varieties that you have are really, really cool, really interesting. Yeah. Well, let's talk more about that someday.
Yeah, definitely. Because I always say to people that, from my perspective, I kind of I do my wife's head in a little bit. Because, do you want to say hello? The cat's just wanting to join in.
Yeah.
What's your cat's name?
It's a bit of a geeky reference.
Okay.
His name's Hilo. Do you guys remember a series called Battlestar Galactica?
Okay.
I told you it was geeky. No, I think sometimes I do my wife's head in quite a lot, because this year, and I'm making this up, right? But I think this year, maybe we've sold about 65 varieties, something like that. Okay.
Wow.
Something, maybe 70, 65 to 70 varieties. There are still varieties that I'm like, oh man, I haven't got that.
Yeah.
And Kate's kind of saying to me, like, whoa, let's sell the 500 pots of this variety that we've got, and then you can go off and do other things. But I think that's the joy of what we do, to be honest. That I think we're all kind of like collectors.
And discovery.
I think what you said about the variety in your salsa mix, the varieties in your salsa mix, the fact that I'm kind of sitting here going like, I want it.
Yeah.
I mean, it just shows like how kind of susceptible I am, call it salsa and I'm there, it sounds awesome.
I think I've brought up to him, if I'm saying this right, is it a black cherry sage or a black currant sage?
Black currant sage.
Black currant. I'm like, what? Like a black currant sage. Oh, hi. Love it.
I'm sorry, black currant sage. Yeah.
Yeah, that's mind-boggling to us.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Have you encountered that before?
Never.
No.
Okay. I mean, I'll tell you a true story. That when me and my wife got married, I should know how many years ago that is, right? 6 years ago. We actually, the local florist that did the flowers and stuff, she actually put the flower, black currant sage flower, in the buttonhole of my suit.
Wow.
So whenever I smell that variety, it makes me feel kind of nervous and
flashback.
That's really sweet though, that there's a story behind that. I like that.
Yeah. Well, it's actually it's my wife's favourite of all the herbs that we grow. It's a weird thing because in the UK, I don't know if this is a thing in the United States, but do you guys have like kind of like blackcurrant sort of squash, blackcurrant fruit drink kind of thing?
Not really.
Not really. If it would be like a specialty liquor drink, I think, if there was a blackcurrant. I would think.
Or maybe some kind of tea, but it's not mainstream that I know about.
Because we always joke and we always say that, like, when we were kids, it did not matter what was wrong with you. You would always be given hot blackcurrant, like this blackcurrant cordial, like with a hot boiling water.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter, like, if you've got like a broken leg or if you've got a headache or whatever.
Oh,
Fix all. Yeah.
I
and
love it.
Blackcurrant sage, when you put boiling water on it, it tastes exactly like that. So yeah, it's a favourite of ours, guys. I would
smuggle that one back in my suitcase.
Do you know what? Look, trust me, there'll be a few varieties in my suitcase as well.
Yeah.
Guys,
awesome.
I'm conscious about the time, so I'm gonna I'm gonna sign off. But guys, thank you so much for like joining us this afternoon, and I'm sure that people watching this are going to be as like fascinated by these differences as I am.
Yeah.
And, can you just remind me and remind people watching, if they search for your on Instagram, your Worldside Farms?
Yeah, Wildside Farms _.
That's the same similar thing to us. I don't know why we always put the Wildside Farms _. So
yeah,
all the questions that you're going to have for this, direct them to the fantastic Worldside Farms, you know. And guys, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you for reaching out and being willing to do this. And it's awesome.
This is a cool idea. You know, we do a very similar thing, but at different ends here. Thanks for having us.
No, don't worry. I mean, I'm just hoping, to be honest, I'm just going to put this in at the end here. I'm just hoping that like Bill Gates is going to be watching this, and he's going to be like, that British guy seems really cool. Like, I'm going to buy him a business class plane ticket, and he can just come and live in Florida. So
we'll put it in the
well, there you go, internet.
Guys, it's been a pleasure talking to you. So thank you so much for joining us.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.